All right, we're back with another very special edition for you. Our special guest is an acclaimed musician, writer, producer, and much more from the band Deadly Apples. It is Alex Martel from Montreal.
How's it going?
Welcome, welcome. Thank you so
Thanks for
much
having
for
me.
joining us. It's exciting to see this project, new release. You sounds like you've got some very special guests on with you. Um, please tell us a little bit about your roots, coming up in music. Who inspired you, and at what age did you start playing music and then eventually writing your own originals?
I grew up in the new metal era, so I pretty much started with that whole wave of bands like Korn, Deftones, Limp Bizkit back then. Then kind of went more towards darker music, so Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson, which led to Nine Inch Nails, Ministry. Now, I listen to all sorts of music, but that's pretty much where I started and, you know, tried doing music with horrible musicians, when I was a teenager and tried learning how to sing. And eventually I met up my current bandmate, Antoine, who essentially writes all the music for Deadly Apples, and I write all the lyrics. And we basically teamed up together, and by combining our different or shared influences, it basically uh the outcome is the music that we're doing for Deadly Apples.
Well, I know you have a previous single, Volatile. It's made some great impact. You've done some great shows, including Welcome to Rockville in Florida and the Vivo X show in Peru. You performed on stage with Avenged Sevenfold, Marilyn Manson. It's exciting to see the new single "Sacrifice." I know it features collaborations with Richard Patrick from Filter, Nine Inch Nails on vocals, and Danny Lerner on from Nine Inch Nails and Till Lindemann on guitar and bass. Of course, as you say, the single is produced by your partner Antoine Lamotte and mixing by Ben Gross, who's worked with Depeche Mode. Tell us how you got Richard and Danny on the record.
I met Danny a long time ago through my old friend Fat Mike of NoFX. So Fat Mike was recording his solo album as Koki the Clown. He was doing it with Danny, and I happened to be in LA, so he invited me over to Danny's place while they were recording that album. So that's how I met Danny, and you know, I've I've been a fan of his work, and we kept in touch. So when it was time to record the new Deadly Apples album, we knew that we were going to do it in LA, and that we'd have Ben Gross mix it, and we were doing it at his studio. So we needed a guitar player and a bass player. So we asked him, and he was down to do it. And as for Richard, I think we were both following each other on Instagram, and I think he enjoyed what we did. And you know, Filter was one of the bands that I listened to when I was a teenager. Uh, Richard is also friends with Danny, and they had just recently been together at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when Nine Inch Nails got inducted. So basically, when Richard saw that we were there working with Danny and also with Ben, because Ben had mixed the first three Filter albums. He was just like down to come by and just try some vocals on different songs. It wasn't even planned or anything; just kind of happened. And um, he's just a really, really nice, uh, gracious guy, who's helped us a lot and took us out on a couple tours. So we're very grateful towards him and also Danny.
That's great. And I see some pre-production by Michael Beinhorn, who, of course, worked with many top artists, including Korn. How was he involved?
It was really pre-production, and we did it remotely during the pandemic, actually.
Okay.
So essentially, we sent some early versions of songs, and we did some Zoom calls with him, and he would send us back like I think he sent us like 10 pages of notes, for like one song or something like that. Like he's known to be extremely detailed and meticulous about things. And the main thing he told me, well, he told myself and Antoine, it was that he felt like those early songs that we were doing for the new album, he was like, they sound kind of restrained. And it was like, you guys should just let it all out. And uh, we essentially followed his advice, and then the album took a way heavier direction. And some of those early songs we still kept for the album, like Sacrifice, the single that we just released. That was actually the first song that was written for the album. And yeah, so it was amazing. If, even though it wasn't in person, we were doing remotely because of the pandemic. Like, it was great to be able to um, work with someone like Michael, who's produced so many amazing albums over the years.
No, I understand that the drums for the track were recorded on Lars Ulrich's iconic Black Album kit. That album was recorded right up the street from me here in North Hollywood at One on One Studios.
Yeah.
How did you get access to this kit?
Well, we had to rent a drum kit while we were there to record the drum parts, and we called up the company called Drum Doctors, who are really well known in LA for providing drums for anyone recording albums. And essentially, he was the guy that rented the drum kit to Lars when they did the Black album. And my bandmate Antoine, the first band that he grew up listening to was Metallica. Even though obviously what Deadly Apples does is totally different than Metallica. He just it was just special for him to use that exact same drum kit. So yeah, that was pretty cool.
Fantastic. Now, you've played, like I say, shows across North America and this show in Peru. How did you get booked onto the show in South America?
Well, we were fortunate enough to play a couple of times in South America. We did some shows down there with Deftones a few years ago, and we played a few festivals down there. This was actually the third time that we played Peru, and the crowd there is just insane. Like the first time we played there, you know, people didn't really know who we were, but they were really into it. And second time we went there, people were waiting for us at the airport when we got there, which is not something we usually experience, it's not like we're a massive headlining band. So that was pretty amazing, just seeing how passionate they are down there. And this time around, it was even more amazing, and they gave us a great slot on the main stage right before Anthrax, Manson, and Avenged. And we had a 1 hour slot right when it got dark. And yeah, we just had massive crowd, and it was just really, really amazing and special. Probably my favorite show we've ever done, actually. There was just something really special about it.
Mm. Yeah, I've traveled around the world myself, and those are some great places. I even went to Machu Picchu up in the mountains there outside of Peru. Special, special places.
Yeah, I'd love to visit that. We didn't have time when we were there, unfortunately, but
Sure.
definitely on the bucket list.
No doubt. Well, I know you've shared the stage with some of your favorites, including Marilyn Manson, Rob Zombie, Deftones, Rammstein, Korn, and more. Is there a band or two that you ultimately would like to perform with that you haven't or on the same stage?
Um, I mean, you know, the dream would probably be Nine Inch Nails.
Okay.
Uh, we're huge fans um, of everything that Trent has done, and now Atticus, who's now an official member of that band. Um, yeah, we just really love and respect everything they've done. I'm not sure that would ever happen, but that would be pretty amazing. Um, Aside from that, there's a lot of younger acts that we're really into. Um, Ghostmane, love what he does. That would definitely be great. Um, but yeah, there's there's tons that I could name, but yeah, we're definitely very grateful for the different opportunities we've had, and you know, it, it always feels like a full circle moment getting to perform with bands that we grew up listening to.
Yes. Well, I know your music video for Volatile premiered at the Montreal Fetish Weekend and went on to be selected for the silver screenings at the Berlin Music Video Awards in June. You've generated a lot of great buzz across Spotify and YouTube and all that. Why is international exposure important to you?
Well, it always felt to us like, even though we're from Canada, like, y- we there was never like we were never like part of a local scene or anything like that, because what we did was always kind of very different from whatever music scenes were going on here, like in Montreal or elsewhere in Canada. So, we've kind of been focusing on developing more elsewhere. Like we did more touring in the US and in South America than we did in our own country. Um, and we definitely want to do more shows in in Canada, and we're probably going to do that next year, actually. But it's also really special getting to travel the world and perform in front of totally different crowds, and you know experience all these different cultures. Like, we got to tour with Korn in Japan, which was really amazing, such a unique experience. And yeah, it's just eh, especially now with social media and streaming and everything. It's like it's it, the world is more open, and we see it in our stats. Like, we have people from all over the world listening to our music.
No, I know during your performances, you have high energy and, of course, unpredictable live times. See you sometimes diving into the audience. How long have you been doing that? And was it somewhat intimidating the first time you tried it?
Um, I think a lot of bands, when they do concerts, they basically just walk up stage, play their instruments, play their songs, walk off stage, and that's it. And that's fine. But for me, it's always been almost like a spiritual experience or like, an exorcism or a therapy, whatever you want to call it. So I'm a fairly calm and quiet guy in everyday life, but when I get up on stage, it's just like everything that's bottled up and this whole other side just kind of comes out on stage. So to me, it's just a very, very special experience, and it's real, and it's more than just playing songs, basically. And that essentially results in um, unpredictable shows and sometimes chaos on stage. And I think, in a sense, it makes it special, and we definitely have a lot of feedback regarding that, of people enjoying that side of things and telling us that we're essentially bringing back the danger on stage, in a context where a lot of rock music or metal, whatever, has been feeling very, very safe and bland, and I kind of like that excitement that I think some bands had in the 90s and the 80s. Just this, the feeling that you go to a show and anything can happen, basically.
Well, yeah, I see you've performed at the Vans Warp Tour. I was involved with the Warp Tour for 20 years, and obviously it was a
Awesome.
springboard for so many incredible bands and, getting into the crowd. And, of course, Warp Tour is known to, every band's got a merch table and it's very interactive, with the fans and, of course, with other bands too and catering. So, like they say on the Warp Tour, the saying is no room for rock stars. Everybody gets treated equal. So whether you're already a multi-platinum band or a new band on the rise, you got a chance to stand out and certainly find new collaborations. So that was great to see. Well, I know that you've got more music coming up. What can we expect next? What's in the pipeline?
Well, essentially the full album, which is called Distress, it's been ready and mixed and mastered for a while now, but we're essentially releasing it gradually, um, which is essentially, it's pretty much the world we live in now because of people's short attention spans.
Uh huh.
So we're gonna keep releasing the songs individually, like as singles, and we're gonna keep doing music videos. So probably gonna be releasing one more uh, at some point in November, then probably continue in late January, I would say. And yeah, we're actually getting ready to shoot a couple more music videos soon, and eventually the full album will be out. And eh, as much as we're more in the singles world now, it was still important to us that for those out there who still enjoy the concept of albums, that you can still play the full album and it works together and it tells a story. So it can work for both worlds, basically, or both types of music fans, in a sense.
Fantastic. Our special guest has been Alex Martel of the group Deadly Apples. Alex, thank you so much for joining us. We look forward to charting your course and seeing future successes. We look forward to following up with you soon. Thank you so much for joining us and best of luck with the new single.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.